Good afternoon. Well, hello, everybody, and thanks for coming another week to the Google Universe web series. I am G. William James, and welcome to this very special webinar session of Google My Business Ads and SEO. Now, I want to tell you right off, this is going to sound very familiar because if you can remember, one of the first webinars that I did for Wesely and Associates was based on Google My Business Ads and SEO. But as part of the series, I think it's going to become even more relevant now. And now that you've gone through some of the other major tools, I think you'll be able to put this even into better perspective as we talk about the importance of using the content that we talk about in making it so that you can raise your level of search engine optimization, get discovered more when people doing searches for real estate and realtors in your area, in your zip code, looking at specific features and what have you, you'll come up more as a result, and it will work more positively in your favor. So I want to get a little bit deeper than I even did before, answer some questions that we didn't have time or didn't get to in the last session, but I want to make sure that this is going to be a very relevant session for us today. So as usual, I'll start talking about how you can keep in contact with me. And I will say right here, thanks. You guys have been emailing me, asking me questions and whatnot, and it has been a great opportunity for me to connect with you. So keep the questions and the comments coming. And of course, you can always reach me through my website or any of my social media as you see here. You're going to get this presentation just like you've done before. Here's the same thing with my career highlights. The beginnings of all my handouts are pretty much the same, but I get new people for the most part almost every time. So I have to introduce myself a different way. Okay, so this time I want you to send me this email to william@gwilliamjames.com. And in the subject line, I simply want you to write Google SEO 2020. That's it, Google SEO 2020. I don't know if I used the same one the last time, which was about 6 weeks ago that we did this. But I teach this webinar quite frequently, and I've determined that this is probably going to be the best way for me to keep a consistent subject line for this, because I tried changing them and it just doesn't work as well as maintaining consistency. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what SEO is in the first place. SEO is an acronym for search engine optimization. And if you have a computer, you have a smartphone, you have a tablet, and it has a connection to the internet, at some point you've done a Google search or search engine search, if you will. Well, this is how we have basically come to learn how to discover, how to find just about anything, any subject, any topic that we are interested in. We will just do a search on it and get our results back. But what we've determined through some research, and I got some of this from Google, that 93%, almost 100% of online experiences start with some type of Google search, a name, a product, a fact, or anything. It all starts with a Google search of some sort, even if it is searching within an application, because they have their own built-in search engine. So I think that includes in that 93%. Having an SEO strategy is extremely important when we consider this, because in order for people to find what they're looking for, especially when they're looking for real estate, when they're looking to invest, when they're looking to buy, when they're looking for a realtor to sell their property, they're going to go to the internet first, because we've come to associate fact finding with search engine, and you want to be able to grow your business by doing so. So the idea is to optimize our opportunities to be discovered when people do these Google searches. And so that's the whole purpose behind this presentation today, learning the facts and some of the steps and strategies that you can take that will make it so that you'll get discovered more, and what will people discover about you will be exactly what they're looking for. So why is it so vital to you and your business specifically? Well, because this is what we're going to do by creating this optimization opportunity. We're going to build our business. We're going to expand our brand. We're going to create a better user experience for our users, for people who are doing search. Think of yourself as a consumer, and when you do Google searches, what is it that you expect to get in return? This is what we want to provide for consumers who are looking for us to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. So you want to increase your brand visibility, and of course, you want to make it so that you can reach a broad audience. You want to cast as wide a net as you possibly can. So what we're going to talk about today is how we're going to build that net so that when you do cast it out, you will be able to grab people, not just in your local area, but all over the country and in many places around the world. It's going to increase your business, of course, your opportunities and chances to actually close business, to sign as a representative, as a seller's representative for people. You're going to be able to do that because they're going to find you, connect with you, like what they see even before they talk with you, and of course, sign to do business with you. Now, the other thing that search engines do for us is it does the homework. And so it's going to give us an opportunity to become better at what we do over time, because we will get metrics back and we'll be able to see what customers are buying, how they're buying, how they're reaching out, who they're reaching out to, and even the words that they type to search for what they're searching for. And so all of these clues and metrics are what search engine professionals use to be able to determine how they're going to rank get their clients' rankings higher. People pay a lot of money for what we're going to talk about today, hiring professionals who do nothing but SEO all day long. And if you do the work and you stay on top of the work, because this is something that you're going to have to stay consistent with, then it will keep you ahead of your competition. And if they're not doing what you're doing, then of course you're going to be the one who's going to reap the rewards. So let's dig in and find out exactly what that's all about. It all starts with this tool that Google has called Google My Business. Now, Google My Business itself is an application built within the algorithm of the Google search engine, by which they're doing two things. Number one, they are building a platform that will provide a tremendous wealth of information for their clients. When someone does a Google search, it's going to provide them with exactly what they're looking for in the most relevant, up-to-date, and expansive way in terms of the information. And so it's going to give you the opportunity to become that search result. And by connecting with the business and gaining the business, even before they connect with you directly, or doing an organic search, as we call it. We're going to talk about that. So you're going to get better internet traffic. You're going to get an easier opportunity to directly engage with people. They're going to see who you are, what you have available, even before they click on your website. So Google My Business is that tool that's going to help them help us. So at the end of the day, the goal is for higher ranking. So if you ever done a Google search and you know that 10, 15, 20 pages pop up immediately, and there are probably 1,000 pages behind that with relevant Google searches, how do you get to be on page one? And how do you get to the top of page one? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And if you're on page two, we're going to talk about the ways that you can get yourself to page one and using Google My Business and organic searches so that you will be able to get discovered. Google, of course, their service is to provide their clients, who are us, as doing searches, queries, Their job is to provide us with the most up-to-date, relevant, and information directly involved with what we're searching based on the words that we type. And so their goal is to keep you on that page because that's where Google makes most of their money. We're going to talk a little bit more about how they generate revenue and how it's going to benefit for us too. Now, they also understand that the mobile search is even more relevant and more important today than it was in the past because 85, almost 90% of internet activity today is really done on smartphones and tablets. Of course, we have our desktop and our laptop computers, but they have taken us a back seat to the mobile devices. And so what they've done is they've created even a method for you to increase engagement directly from the mobile phone. So if you did a search on the desktop and did the exact same search on your mobile phone, you most likely will get the same information with a different engagement experience. And we'll talk about that as well. And then of course, it's Google. And so when we talk about Google, we talk about the Google universe and how everything interoperates. So they're going to allow you to bring in and incorporate your location into Google Maps. And they're going to allow you to connect your website. And they're going to allow you to use all those other pieces of content that we've talked about over the last few weeks, whether it's a Google site or a flyer or a My Maps application, something that we've been able to share online to make it part of the search engine experience. That's what we're going to do. And it's going to interoperate. And as I always say, the more content, the more up-to-date content and the most relevant content that you are constantly posting and making available, that's what's going to raise your ranking. So we're going to talk about those secrets as well. All right, so it all begins with the Google My Business profile. This is how we set up this little section. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in this PowerPoint. You'll have this available for you to read at your leisure. So we're going to go into the application in just a moment. But it's like I said, it's designed to provide each search query with the most up-to-date, most relevant, and usable results available. I'm going to say that over and over again because that is the real secret behind your success. Most relevant, up-to-date, and usable results available. All right, so let's switch over a bit. And I'm going to come out of this and go into the actual internet. So I'm going to go to a new share. And back out of my presentation here as soon as it lets me. There we are. And all you have to do is type in google.com/business or do a Google search for Google My Business. And it's going to take you to your page where you can just sign in. Or if you're signed into your Google account, just click on Manage Now. And it's going to take you to your menu page. All right. Now, this is telling me I'm having an issue. Oh, you know what? I had a security issue with my account recently, and I have to go back and fix this. Anyway, yeah, I did some updates to my account, and actually I'm kind of glad this happened because it'll give me the opportunity to answer some questions about what happens when they do this. And so let me go back and see if I can go back into the page. And I have to go back and do a request. All right, any questions about what we've talked about so far? I forgot to go in here and look at this. I mentioned it. I got an email for it yesterday and I forgot to go back and look at it. So I've got to put this back in. Ha ha ha. All right, let me go back. So it's saying that I need to sign in and then review the profile to comply with the, okay, so let me go back into my, and find out what they did. You see that big red suspended in the middle? Now, one problem I had, and this is probably what it was with my local address. And that was what I was actually about to address at the moment. And the first thing you have to do when you set up your Google My Business account is you have to verify your location. And I had an original location, and then I changed my location. It took forever for them to update it. And so here we go. I'm just going to go through it this way, and then I'll update it later. But it's got something to do with my location. And the first thing you have to do if you haven't established your location with them is you have to send them from this page, your address, your mailing address. Now, what they will do is they will send you a card in the mail to that mailing address with a link and a code on it. When you receive it, you fill in the code, you put in the address. I'm sorry, you put in the internet address, and then you type in the code, and then you, at that point, they have recognized that you actually have that physical address. Because one of the limitations of Google Business is you have to have a business address. It doesn't have to be a brick and mortar office per se, but it should be your home address if you have to do it. If you are an accountant, a realtor, or a business owner that works from your home office, you put in your home address. If you have your brick and mortar office, then you can put in that. They'll mail it to whatever address you put it in. And once you put in the code, it will establish you in that address. Now, I get a question quite commonly about if you use the office address and someone else has already claimed the office address, can you also use the office address? Well, that's a good question. And I did bring it up to Google. And what was said to me was, if there's a suite number, perhaps you could add a suite number to the point. And I'll ask Sachi, I'll answer your question in just a moment. Or you can actually write them and let them know that this is a real estate office and there are 25 people that work in that office per se. And so you want to be able to use it. And in many cases, they will go ahead and allow that. Well, to answer Sashi's question, she asked, can you put PO boxes as the mailing address? And the answer is no. They do not allow PO boxes or any virtual type of location. It's got to be a physical address that the U.S. Postal Service can drop a card into your mailbox, not a PO box. And you can't have a virtual business. They won't take a food truck, for example, unless that food truck has a permanent location. It doesn't take something that moves around. So there's a lot of little limitations. And I had some issues with my personal account as it related to the location, because I tried to move it from one of my old addresses. I first created my account 4 years ago, and I have since moved to another house since then. And that's probably what this is all about. So I'm going to look into that later. So basically, once you get that card back, and then you can start completing this form. Now, over here on the left side is the menu. And where you would actually start would be here under info. And every place where you see a pencil, that's where you'll have the ability to come in and fill in your locations. So when you can put in your service areas, now this is going to be important as well, because when you put in your service areas, it's going to map the service that the geographic location in which you employ your business. So you don't have to put in these different cities as I have, unless you are licensed in California and Nevada, for example, or California and Arizona. Then you could possibly put in both of your locations. But if you're talking about basically, the Auburn, California, Rosedale area, you don't even have to put in all those different cities. You can just put in the central location, and then you can spread out your map. All right. Then you can put in how, what your hours are. I'm a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week business. I never close. And the reason why I put that in there is because in Google Maps, when somebody does a Google search for my address, and it gives you the little business details, it will say open 24 hours, or it will actually say closed or open at the time you do a Google search. You've done that. I'm sure you've seen it. If you've used Google Maps and put in a location, a retail store, for example, if it's already closed, it will tell you that. And that's because of what's been created in their profile. So you have all the abilities to put in all these features, functions, and then descriptions. So here's your opportunity to describe what your business is and to whom you serve your community and how you serve your community. You want to talk about your distinctions. If you're a green realtor, or you have a certain distinction as being one who specializes in particular types of properties. If you specialize in ranches or vineyards or anything like that, commercial properties, all of those things can be described right here in the info page. Now, there are places that you're going to be able to put more information, but this is the very first beginning of it. You also have a place here where you can begin to add photos. Now, there's another place where you're going to add photos that people will actually see. But if you want to add photos about the business here, all you have to do is drop them in. And these photos would represent you to some degree. Okay. And they will be seen online. Now, coming back over here to the left, I'm going to click on the one below that says Insights. Now, this is basically, if you are a particular type of business, it will give you analytic information back, metrics about the business that you're in, how you compare with other realtors in the business, in the area, things of that nature, and things that you can do to increase your visibility and build your customer base. Below that, here back here on the left side, here's reviews. Now, this is where you can get instant engagement. Now, that's telling you it's not available for my listing because I need to re-establish mine, but I do get this as well. Having the ability for your clients to provide any type of reviews like Yelp reviews right here in Google My Business is going to be extremely valuable, because when people do Google searches and they search and find you, they will see all of those stars. They will see those reviews and what people have written about you. They'll also see what you have responded to your reviews as well. And so it's going to be very important that you have this available and that you stay engaged with it, so that you can make sure that the review process is always up to date as far as on your side is concerned, and you'll be able to do that. Here's a way that you can engage and communicate with people through messages right there from the web, from the search screen. Now, remember, we haven't even gotten to your website yet. This is all engagement that happens on the Google search results screen. So that's one of the major benefits of having a Google My Business profile. You're going to be able to engage with people right off the bat before they even see you and go into looking at your content, because they're going to be able to see the content that you create above and beyond. So here, this is where you can add listing photos. This is where you can add photos of you with clients, if you will, or an action photo of you showing a property or something to that effect. You can add little short videos. You can welcome people to your page with a little short video right here that you can take with your phone and welcome people to your website, give them the information, tell them what they can do by engaging with you, and invite them into the experience. All right. Here is a place where you can add your services, add the distinctions that you have as a realtor, if you will. And then down here toward the bottom, they even have a place where you can have your own built-in Google type website. Now, this is basically an engagement website. It's not going to replace your website, but it is a great place for you to put information, and you can share this very easily. You can put your information in here, and you can see your engagement, and your reviews can be here. And what you can do with this page is very easily just connect with people. You can use this and use it to, you can use this to actually share in social media, if you will. And it's all built into your Google My Business profile. And you would just use this little menu over here to the left in order to construct what you see over here. So what I'm encouraging you to do is just to engage. Start going down that left side. Once you get your approval to go ahead and set up your page, after you've established your location, you'll have the ability to do all of this. You'll get that card, if you haven't done so already, in about 5 business days. And so after that, then you can go back and you can do everything that I'm just showing you over here on the left side, including setting up your website and all of that right here on the left side. Now, here's one that we're going to talk about in a second: creating an ad. It wouldn't let me pop over. Oh, I see it's going to lock me again. All right. Google Ads are still very relevant. In fact, it is the #1 generator of revenue for Google Incorporated. Google Ads. Now, how do they generate their ads? Well, you see ads in Google searches. You see them. You also see Google Ads on blog pages and other online content. And so let's say if you created a relationship with Google where you were buying for ad space, and someone put your ad on their blog. They talked about real estate, and they talked about, you know, the business of real estate or mortgages or you know, whatever it is related to the business, and they had a Google ad on the side on their blog page with your business in it. Every time someone clicks on it, that's when Google gets paid, right? They get paid by you. You get paid by, you pay Google for the click. You don't pay them until someone clicks on your page. Now, that person who has your ad on their page, they get paid too. So sometimes if you have a blog page, it's not a bad idea to incorporate Google Ads, because that's a way to generate revenue, if you will, by having people click on ads that are there. So they get paid and Google gets paid, but no one gets paid until somebody clicks on there. So you can feel pretty comfortable that if you do decide to get into Google Ads and using ad space, then your money will possibly go a long way. In fact, they have a way that's going to provide you with a way to use it and try it out before you even invest any money. All right. So what I want to do is here, I came over here and I did a Google search, and I typed in "find a realtor in Atlanta, Georgia." And I want to show you the difference between what the search engine did by simply typing in a different location. So here I said, type "find realtor in Atlanta, Georgia." And the first thing it popped up was a local map with these pins. Now you can see these pins are in different colors, but they have different pins here. Now below that, this is what you see is Google My Business. All right. You see these first three here. Now, what got these three here are not necessarily because of their stars. Does not necessarily, but we'll take a look at that in a second. You can see here where you can connect with this real estate agency by website right here, or you can even get the directions to their location from right here. You haven't even opened this page. You haven't engaged with this company at all, but now you have access to their information, including their phone number, their address, and even what some people have already reviewed them and engaged them. Now, below this box with the Google My Business, these are called organic search results, okay? This is what you typically have seen before Google created this new algorithm and new design for search results. And you see realtor.com occupies the first two. And that's because of what we'll talk about when we talk about how you can get your rankings higher. And then as we scroll down a little further, this is how you can find, based on what the search is, real estate agents or find realtors in the area. You see, so this is the new way that Google engages with people. They create instant through Google My Business. They have still have the organic search results here, you see. And so let's click on this page here. Now, I want you to pay attention to what the first three are. Now, when I click on View All, it's going to expand this list to the other Google My Businesses. But notice that the first one is no longer the one that was on the first on the page beforehand. What popped up was this one. And the only difference that I saw was this right here in the lower left where I'm circling. This is the ad generated group. It pushed the one that bought the Google ads to the top. So that may be a benefit to you as to why you might invest in Google ads. It also, if you look at the map, all the pins are red with the different locations of the agencies that are over here on the left side, with the exception of the one that paid the ad. That's the green one, you see? So what Google has done is has raised it up to the top of the list and given it some distinction. So at this point, you can simply scroll down and look at the different locations and figure out what is it that you want to do. And if you want to engage with one, you just simply click on it. Now you'll get more information about this particular business. So this is what you're setting up when you go into your custom page. You're putting in the address, you're putting in the phone number, you're putting in the hours, as we said before. You're putting in any information about this location. Here's a way that you can engage with their website, directions. You can save this for later or even call them. Now on the desktop, that may not necessarily be a way that you can do it. If you're a Google user, you could use your Google phone, which is built into Gmail. But on the mobile device, if you pulled up this same location, you would actually get an icon, a phone icon that you can tap it and it would go ahead and ring their phone. You see, so you have the ways of engaging. Now, going back to what they filled in when they created their profile, here is their place that you can do Q&A. Remember the messages part where you can ask questions and you can answer them right there, and put up photos. So they're going to put up photos of their office, and you can see all of their photos at the same time. Now, these are just photos of their offices. Now, if they wanted to put up photos of listings, an individual agent would put up photos of their listings here, or a video, if you will. But you would have that capability built into building your page. And then down below is here then with the reviews. You see? Now, if you make a review, someone review your page and you want to engage with them, you can do right there from your mobile phone. If someone had a somewhat not so stellar review of their engagement with you. You have the ability to respond to that right there at the moment. And anybody who finds you looking forward, they'll see the review and the replies. You see? You see, this company, this person gave a 1-star review for whatever reason. Now, this company had the ability to respond to that person right away if they wanted to. Apparently they have not, but they have the ability to reply, and you would be able to do so. So this is what the engagement looks like. All right. And we're even going to talk about what it talks about when it says people also search for. We're going to talk about that as well. So let's get into that. All right, I'm going to switch back over to our presentation, and we'll show you the differences real quick. I'm just going to go over these slides really quickly. So when we talked about the organic searches, that's what we saw when you saw the realtor.com results pop back up. And you want to be able to come back up that way too. And I'm going to talk about how you can get your results higher like they did. And what Google calls no-click searches is what you see here. Now, this is a different design for what Google has done to make it easy for people to engage at the moment with staying on their page. Remember, this is how Google makes their money. So if you cite what I did when I said find a hotel in the Galleria, Dallas, Texas, this is what popped up. It came up with an opportunity for you to book a hotel without even going to a website. Put in your dates, how many people are going, and it's going to give you options, including possible rates of the hotels. You see, the engagement is keeping people on the page. Now, who pays for that? Who pays for these ads? Well, the companies who are going to book these rooms. It's most likely Travelocity or Hotels.com or whomever. If you want to go directly to the Westin's website, you can click on the Westin, for example, and go to their website. But this is saying that you don't have to. You can book at the Westin and never even go to their website because you can book it through the third party. So this is actually, if you clicked on the Westin, how you'd be able to engage with them as well as you would with the other organization too. Now, the paid ads section. Remember, this is ad driven. Who's going to benefit from this? Well, here are the services down here. So if you wanted to book, you could click right there, book the hotel. You see, and you never went into the Westin's website. You never went off of the Google results website. These are all the Google sites pages. All right. When you look at the map, same thing as I told you before. All the red ones are the Google My Business listings, but the green ones are the ones that have been paid, and they pop up first on the list. So that may be one reason why you may want to invest in Google Ads. All right. So we've already gone through the Google My Business pages. This is what that same listing would look like on a mobile phone. And as I said, right here, you'd have the ability to do a direct phone call engagement right there. If you clicked on directions, it'll open up Google Maps. So on the mobile device, it has an even a different interface with different functions and features to benefit you. All right. So let's talk about how you get your rankings up. Before we do that, let me stop and find out if there are any questions. Are there any questions about what we talked about so far? And you can unmute yourself or just write something in the chat. All right, so search engine optimization. How do we get ourselves ranked higher? How do we get noticed? And what are the keys to really making this happen? So we're going to talk a little bit about the technology so you'll get a better understanding of what you can do to make it better for you and your business. So really, SEO is all about using the right keywords, or should I say casting the right net, a wide enough net, so that when people type in their search query, you fit into the results of their search query. Now, you don't know what people are going to type. So what we try to do is anticipate by creating the type of what we call metadata. I know it's a big word, but don't worry about that. We're going to type the right data using the right keywords that's going to cast a wide enough net so that regardless of what a person types, as long as it's relevant to what you are connected to, it's going to make you part of the results. Now, how you get higher in those results depends upon those keywords and what we do moving forward. So we're going to talk about what those things are. These are the top 3 factors of how you get ranked according to Google's algorithm. And this is pretty much brand new. When I say brand new, I'm going to say 9 months to a year old. And Google changes this on a regular basis as they try to improve it, or they try to make sure that the search results are more directed or laser pointed toward what people are typing, their queries, that this is how they do it. All right, so links, number 1. We're going to talk about what these links are and how you can get better links so you'll get higher ranked and you will attract the customers to you. Content. We've been talking about content for the past 5 weeks through Gmail, through Google Calendar, through Google Drive. We've been talking about how you build content that is relevant, up to date, and useful to the search engine, so it will want to present you as one of the best results that it can find. So we're going to talk about how to do that as well. And number 3 is what's called a rank brain. Rank brain is the artificial intelligence that drives this algorithm that Google has created to bring us those search results when we type in the query. So let's talk a little bit about that. Now, the rank brain's friend begins with the tool called the Googlebot. Googlebot, or better known as most search engines, is basically called it a spider. What it does, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it does nothing but go through websites, page after page after page, millions and millions of websites per hour. This Googlebot just goes through the websites, is searching for the right words, terms, images, and content that it can find and associate so that when you type in a search query, it will provide you back with what you're looking for. And it is not subjective. It's just looking for those words, right? If you did a search for how to brew cold coffee, how to make cold brew coffee, which I do a lot. I do that search as an illustration. It's searching and it's going to find coffee, cold brew, how to. It's going to find all of those words in those websites. It's not going to present them all, but it's going to just collect the data. That's all it's going to do. Its job is not to present anything. Its job is to just simply crawl and collect data 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what the Googlebot does. Now, it has a partner. The partner is called the Rank Brain. Now, the Rank Brain is artificial intelligence. It is subjective, and the Rank Brain does decide what gets displayed and what does not. Okay, so the Google Brain provides the information. The Rank Brain takes it, breaks it apart, and decides what's going to be the most up-to-date, useful, and relevant information that Google as a search engine can provide to its customer, the person typing the search query. Okay, so this is what it does. It learns. It is machine learning. It gets better as it learns more, as it gets more data from the Googlebot. Okay, and it is the technology is getting bigger and bigger every day. And this is how a lot of things are going to happen for us, not just in search engines, but the information superhighway that we used to call it is the information warp drive now, right? And artificial intelligence or machine learning is going to drive that moving forward. Now, this is how it works. It's going to rank and decide what gets displayed when someone types a query in based on these 4 criteria. Number 1, unique visits to a site. That's why when you go to a site like what we did, Realtor.com was on top. When I typed the word realtor, find a realtor in any place, Realtor.com is going to be the first organic search result, not the first quick link, but the first organic search result. Why? Because most likely it gets more unique visitors than any other realtor site on the planet, right? Realtor.com, because they're getting visitors from people all over the place, regardless of with whom they what they're looking for or what have you. Realtor.com gets a lot of traffic, so they probably get the most. So that's going to be number one, the unique visits. Number two is going to be the useful quality content of the site. So I'm not going to tell you that this is small. This is high in information in terms of quality content. That's why I was telling you before when we talked about the Google Drive and the Google Calendar and whatnot, the content that we submit, the content that we create and put online is going to be very important to how you're discovered and how your ranking will go higher once you put it up there. Number three is the quality of backlinks. Now, I'm going to have to explain to you in detail what backlinks are because I want you to take full advantage of this. This is a very important part of the process and how you can create your backlinks, how you're going to get backlinks, and how it's going to make your website and your name and your brand look better during search queries. And then number four, time spent on sites. Now, Google will actually determine if someone goes to a particular website that they found on their site, on their search result, and click on it, and it turns out not to be what that person was looking for. Let's say they're only in there maybe 30 seconds. They scroll around a little bit, they don't see anything, they close the page. Well, 30 seconds of visit time does not look well to that website. And so the rank brain is going to push it down. Now, subsequently, they go to another website and they spend 5 or 10 minutes where they're clicking through pages, they're clicking on links, they're looking at different types of content on that site. Google's going to see that as a better user experience for that person, and they're going to push that up because they're going to assume, the rank brain is going to assume that it has provided you with relevant, useful, and up-to-date content, you see? So that's why these are the four criteria, time spent on the site being number four. So we're going to talk about each and every one of them, starting with content. Content and what you are providing is everything to the search engine, okay? So the more content that is associated with you and your name, the better off you're going to be. So think about what we've talked about in the previous weeks when we talked about creating event calendars and posting them and making them public, your open house calendar, or if you have a new listing that you want to showcase, you want to create an event for it, put it on the Google Calendar, make it public, that's content, right? If you go into Google Drive and you create a flyer for a particular event, series of events, a calendar of events, or a listing, right? You create this flyer, post it online live, right? Content. If you go into Google Sites, which is built into Google Drive, and build that one-page website that we talked about just last week, content. YouTube videos, content. Social media content, all of that counts. And the more of it that you post and you make publicly available, and it's all leading back to you, that is going to really shine positively on you. And the rank brain's going to like what it sees because it believes that you have the most up-to-date, relevant, and useful content that it wants to share with its customer. All right. So it even gives you some secondary opportunities too. It's called semantic search. Have you noticed when you do a Google search and you're looking at the page and down toward the bottom, it'll say, you know, users also sought for this, or some other places that you might want to consider. That is the semantic search. Now, that's the artificial intelligence looking at what your query was and going, well, maybe you wanted to look at this as well. You see, so it's even trying to think outside the box. So you want to make sure that the content that you post up, and the words, we're going to talk about your keywords in a moment, the words that you use associated with that content cast a wide enough net so that Google likes it, loves it, sees it, and wants to post it and make it available to its public. Right? So that's what this is all about. Now, backlinks. I mentioned this, and I really want to get into this because this is going to be extremely important to the health and success of your rankings. Every time you are mentioned in a link, it really lends to your favor. Now, it lends to your favor even better if that link is created on a source or a site that is not directly related to you. For example, there's a local blogger in the community that's writing about you or writing about something that you do or stand out as. You are the green realtor, and your job is to, help people find, energy efficient properties, et cetera, right? When they type about you and then they put a link to connect with you, your website, that's called a backlink. And Google absolutely loves that because there's a third party out there talking about you and your site. Now, if in your website, you write in your site a little blurb or something in there, say, you want to read more about me? Look at this article that was written here, and put a link back to that person's page. Well, that serves two purposes. Number one, it closes the loop for backlinks, right? So there's a link back to that person, but also it benefits them because it raises their SEO, because here, you being the third party this time is referencing their site. So backlinks are extremely important, and the more that you can get, the more beneficial the RankBrain will find you. Now, what are other kinds of backlinks? Well, if the California Association of Realtors put your web link, your website link on one of their pages, or even in social media. And this is the part that you can create your own backlinks. If you're in Facebook and you're posting not listings per se, but let's say that you're talking about in a Facebook Live how to secure your home using shrubbery, or how to choose a home inspector, or how to prepare your home for inclement weather, right? When's the best time to replace your roof and how to tell, things of that nature. Your public really loves to see these kinds of things, and you should be posting them up. Now, when you do, and you make sure that you put your website there as well in the links, or mentioning it, anything like that, those are called backlinks. And they also count. Social media, not necessarily Google related, but the Google related ones work just as well. Even in YouTube, you write a description in a YouTube video that you've taken at a listing. You put your website in there, that's a backlink. You see? So you want to use these as much as you possibly can. And I promise you, if your backlinks are solid and you keep them moving forward, that you don't want your backlinks to get old. The person who wrote the article back in April is not going to be as relevant as one that someone wrote about you a week ago. You see? So you want to try to keep your backlinks moving forward as best you can. But the more that you have that lead back to your website, the better off you're going to be. All right. So here's a way that you can get some backlinks. Okay. First of all, you can get them from trusted authoritative sites, as I mentioned before, leading back to your site. All right. Their text has a keyword that links to your information. All right. So if they wrote the word real estate and they highlighted it, and when they click on real estate, the link goes back to you, You've seen pages like that. That's called a backlink. And that's why when you're reading links in stories and articles and whatnot, that's why they put them there. All right. It raises the search engine ranking. Okay. All right. Make sure that the site that is mentioning you is topically related to your website. So you don't want to have a website that's talking about ancient Egypt putting a link to your website, okay? Because it's not topically related. And so the Google bot will see it, but the Google rank brain's not gonna like it, all right? So make sure that the site that is using a backlink to you is topically related. And number 4, make sure the link is a do follow link on the anchor site, meaning the site where it's coming from, the blog page, the social media site, whatever it is. Make sure the link is, when they just type the name in, don't make it so that you just put it in there where you have to copy it and paste it into a browser. Make sure that it is an active hot link. So when they can click on it, it will open a page and come back to you. That's called a do follow link. So these factors right here will definitely make it beneficial for you and make sure that this works. All right. All right. Any questions so far? Not that I can see. All right. Let's move forward. All right. Now, as I mentioned, if you have your own blog, it's a great place to add the backlinks. Now, they're not going to be as relevant or strong as if a third party has a blog about you. But if you're able to work that out where you can have your own blog that you control, but yet it's not connected to your site, then it will actually work in your favor because it will be considered a third party source. All right, so these are all the ways that you can do it. So if you can get recognized in a real estate blog or magazine, it's topically related, and all they need to do is put in a link for you. All right, if you can get a link from your company's website, make sure that you do that. That works well as well. Even on your Wesely and Associates site, if it says anywhere meet the realtors or meet the agents, and there's a link to you, that's a backlink. It counts. So you may want to make sure that that's always up to date, and it's going to lead back to the place where you are. Okay, and I just mentioned about making sure that your social media content, make sure that this is a regular, constant process for you. You doing things in Twitter, doing things in Instagram, doing things in Facebook, doing things in LinkedIn. You can use the same topics and just rotate them through the different social media platforms. It will work. You just want to make sure that they're up to date, and you want to do them in a way that they're relevant and useful. All right. And then, of course, sponsored content, create sponsored content. Try to say that 3 times. So, for example, if you wanted to purchase some ad time in Facebook, it's not an expensive process, but you can create a sponsored ad where you can invite somebody to a webinar or some type of event that you're going to be teaching people how to prepare their home for sale or whatever it is that you want to provide for them. All of these things will work. And then make sure absolutely that everything that you put in, whether it's a flyer or website content, make sure that it links back to your site. That's the key. The backlink links back to your site. All right, so let's move forward. All right, now, these are ways to optimize your website so that you can get higher rankings as well. Now, when I say your website, I'm also talking about your content. All right, so the first thing we want to talk about are the keywords. Now, remember, the Google bot is searching for the relevant keywords. It's looking for keywords. It's looking for the date on those pages. It's looking for up-to-date and relevant information. All right. So what you type is more important than anything as part of how you're typing it. It's called metadata. All right. Metadata is a combination of the keywords that you type, and on your website, you've got the little tabs. for different pages. That's all data that the Google bot will search and find. That's just basically keywords. So for example, if you put in a Google Calendar event and you are talking about a specific property that you're going to have an open house with this Saturday, you're going to make sure that those keywords include everything that's going to cast a wide net: the zip code, the town name, features of the home, location, outside features. Is it close to the mall, or best school district in town? Is it near the university or the hospital, or whatever it is that you want to showcase about that property? You're going to write that keyword in the description, because that's what the Google bot reads. When you put it up there and post it up that at the calendar event, the Google bot's going to read those words, and it's going to see if it's this weekend, it's up to date and it's relevant. And the zip code and the content and all the words, they come together, and that's how you get that recognized. That's how it gets pushed up to the top. It's in combination with all the other content. So if you got a flyer going, you've got a YouTube video going, you've got a Google site going, and it might be for over the same event, the same property, fine, no problem. The more the merrier. And you just want to make it available out there so that the Google bot can see it, the rank brain can rank it, it's going to push you up and you get discovered. So the keywords are so important. 3 to 5 word phrases is considered a keyword, or individual keywords. Now, the secret to making good keywords or descriptions is, instead of what we used to do, where we used to just take the words and separate them by a comma. So example, we would put in house, comma, Corona, comma, California, comma, zip code, on and on and on. No, you're going to type short phrases, short sentences, 2 or 3 sentences that will have all of these words in it, well phrased, so that it will be something that will be attractive to the rank brain. When you do a Google search about anything, go back and do what I do. Search for cold brew coffee, and you'll see there in the side, there'll be a place where you will see 2 or 3 sentences related to your query. It'll have every word that your query has in it. The higher, the better, right? The more words that you have, you look at the ones at the top, it typically has every word that you searched, that you typed. So you want to look at that and mimic that, right? Creating these sentences using those words and casting that wide net using different kinds of words. So you want to make sure that you create great content for your website. So you want to put up listing photos, and you want to put up galleries, and you want to put up maybe a blog page on your website. You want to put in a page for reviews. You want to create something that will be attractive to the Google bot, that the rank brain will like, and it will push it up and make it so that people will see it. Remember, Google wants to provide its customers with up-to-date quality stuff. So you want to make sure that you are in that category. One of the things that a lot of people miss, and I don't want you to be one of them, is to make sure that your website is mobile friendly. I said earlier that your website will be seen 85% of the time by the public on a mobile device. And so if its design is easy to navigate on the mobile device, then you're going to consider it to be a plus, even more so than the desktop. The desktop kind of speaks for itself, but the mobile friendly website is really going to be a winner for you. So make sure that the content that people are searching for is easily to be navigated on your website. Now, you may have to talk to the person who developed your website. They probably have already considered this, but I want to make sure that it is not left off the table. All right. Now, here's that word again, metadata. Understand metadata and use it properly. Remember, metadata is a combination of your keywords in your descriptions, but also the titles of your content. So if you've got a video that was created on YouTube, it's got a title and a description. Those together, metadata. And you also have a place for keywords, for hashtags. Those are important as well. So you want to make sure that you put in hashtags in your descriptions too, because just like you use them in social media, they work just as well on the search engines too. So hashtag real estate, hashtag California, hashtag Corona, hashtag Auburn, hashtag Wesely and Associates, and of course your website. All of that is part of metadata. You're going to put that stuff on your Google sites, those one-page websites. You're going to put it on your calendar events. You're going to put it on your flyers. All of that count. So you want to understand and how to use your metadata, even on your website. There's a place for you to update and optimize those tags. The tags for each page, when someone clicks on it, those are all searchable in the Google search engine. You want to make sure that you avoid duplicate content as much as you possibly can. Googlebot's going to find it. It's not going to like what it sees. So on your website, especially, if you've got a lot of duplicate pages, it's not going to fare very well. So you can use the same design, but make sure that the content on those pages are different, each and every one. Okay. And then again, make sure that you showcase your reviews, your testimonials. If you're getting them from social media, from Google My Business, from wherever you're collecting them, from Yelp, what have you, aggregate them, create a page on your website specifically for reviews and use it. You have people who will maybe do a short video for you and describe what their experience was with you. Have that on your website. That's going to fare very well for you as well. Because again, Googlebot's going to see it, they're going to record it and pass that information on to the artificial intelligence. All right. We talked about the backlinking. I want to re-emphasize its importance. Understanding how to use it, how often you use it, and remember, the Google Rank Brain is looking for up-to-date information. So if you do it twice a week, that's beautiful on social media. If you're getting links a couple of times a week from different sources, that's even better, because the ones from a few months ago are not going to have the same relevance as the ones from a few days ago. So you want to make sure that you understand the concept of backlinking and to stay on top of those features, which is number 8, stay on top of this activity. Now, there's some creative ways that you can take relevant information that's relevant today and make it relevant next week too. For example, you have a YouTube video. It's been up for 2 weeks. Take it down just for a minute, change the description, change the keywords around, keep the same theme, but just change the description around a little bit and post it again. Guess what? Brand new. Same thing with any of the other content that you post. All you have to do is rearrange it and repost it. It will go back up as brand new content. So by doing these little things, it might sound like it's tedious operation, but listen, if you want to get discovered, if you want people to recognize you when they do Google searches, if you want to expand your brand, if you want to make more money, these are the kinds of steps in 2020 that's going to make the difference, because 93% of people start with the search engine. All right. Now, a site map on your website is basically a directory. Okay. Now, you may not see, if you've had your website done for you by someone else, you may not see the site map, but more than likely, the webmaster or the person who created your website created a site map for you. If you don't know for sure, contact that person, ask them what it's about. And if they do tell you that they have a site map that was created for your website, then ask them about Google Analytics, and to submit your site map to Google Analytics. What Google Analytics will do is twofold. Number one, it will analyze your website. It'll give you some ideas as to the demographics, who's clicking on your website, what their area their geographic location is, their age range, male or female, all different kinds of metrics can come from people clicking on your site, and the sitemap giving that information to the Google Analytics tool. It's free, and it will give you that data back, and it will allow you to enhance or update and improve the quality of your website based on the information that it gives back. So you definitely want to have this, and it's going to benefit you in ways that you haven't even discovered yet. All right. So if you need to find out if your website is mobile friendly, here's a little link. You can just copy this and paste it into the onto the website, or actually from once you open up this presentation on your computer. If you open it on your computer, that's a live link. It'll expand and you can just put in your website. It will tell you if your website is optimized for mobile navigation. For those adventurous, if you want to try and do the code for your sitemap, this is one place where you can do so. And then we talked about the keywords and the metadata. If you want to go to this site will give you some really good ideas on how you can craft the right combination of keywords for your website and your other content so that you can really maximize on your search. All right, now let me give you a really quick example of what I was talking about. I'm going to do, see, I searched for Auburn, California, and you notice how it didn't give me the information first. It gave me the organic search results first, realtor.com. And if you look at those carefully, the first three are realtor.com, but they're three different. And you should be able to discover and tell why they're different, but the Google RankBrain said that's perfectly okay, because I'm trying to give you the most up-to-date information. So for example, the first one says find realtors, and there's a little arrow for that. It's for the cached information. The next one is Placer County, you see, because I typed in Auburn, California. The third one gives me Placer County and Auburn, and then here's the maps, and here's the Google My Map listings, okay? And if I click on View All, none of them are ad-driven. The ad-driven ones would have come up first. Now, how do you get the ranking up here at the top? Well, it's not necessarily by your ratings, because this is a 3.9. The second one's a 5.0. It may not be the number of reviews. That one has 7, that one has 2. And as we go down, we may discover some may even have more. This one has 5.0 stars and 10 reviews. So why is that one not at the top? You see? So you can rank by rating if you'd like. You can rank by who's open, what have you, by their hours. But the organic rating could be a number of things based on what the RankBrain decided. You see, that's the important part. What did the RankBrain decide? What's the content in there that pushed it to the top above ones that even have higher reviews? So that's important. So let's see what this one has. So I'm not being prejudicial. I don't know any of these people, but you see here, this is the information. These are the listings, his photos. He's been pretty comprehensive about adding his photos. And here are his reviews. You see, and these could be you just as easily. And here is the information that he put into his building when he was building his Google My Business profile. The information, he wrote that. So this might be a good idea for you to do as well. Go through some of the other listings and see what some of the successful agencies and agents are writing in terms of their design. I don't ever suggest copying their content. I'm saying just look and see what they're doing that's making them successful, you see? And remember I talked about semantic search? This is the semantic search here. People also searched for, right? And then below that were even the web results based on the organic results. And you see that these are not necessarily realtor.com. You see? So all of these are really, really designed to get you connected with the audience, with the people doing Google searches before they even get close to your website. So building a Google My Business profile is really going to benefit you greatly. Now, let's look at keyword search. I'm going to say how to make cold brew coffee. You see, I do it a lot. Here we go. How to make cold brew coffee. See, now let's go down. These are the quick links. Let's scroll down to the organic links. All right. Here's one called Coffee and Cake. Now, this is the second one on the list. But if you notice, here's cold brew, here's coffee. You see? But if we go to the top one, this one says cold brew coffee in one sentence, you see? But the point I'm making is you want to read the fact that they have sentences, cohesive sentences, not just keywords anymore, separated by commas, right? Now, why does Simply Recipes get top billing here, even though it may not have the most, the highest reviews or the most reviews? Well, it's probably getting more unique visits than any of the other websites based on the fact that it's doing all kinds of different recipes, not just cold brew coffee, but different ones. See, the next one is cookie and cake. Then of course you've got videos here too. Now this is again, Google's content. They're trying to keep you on their page as much as they possibly can to provide this information before you even get to a website. All right. So I want you to, next time you do a Google search, which could possibly be later today, you may be doing one right now. Pay more attention to what the results look like, who ranks highest, and why that may be the case. And that's going to help you determine how you're going to be able to master this process and optimize your own content so that you can get higher results as well. All right. All right. So let's get into the Q&A. I know you guys have some questions by now. And let's review. So if you need to, if we need to go over anything again, or if we need to look at something that I didn't mention, or you have any questions, please feel free to go through it right now. All right.
Hey, Williem, it's Tim.
Yes, Tim.
I do have a question for you because I've been kind of playing around with my Google business page while we've been doing this, because when you talk about something, I'll go there. And I noticed that Google My Business, there's actually a tab there that says website. And so they give us a website for free, right? So would it be beneficial to use their website for promoting our listings? Will that generate more activity or what?
You can, well, I think that's kind of a built-in web page. I would call it more of a web page than a website.
Right.
But what it does two things. Number one, it provides you with an outlet to provide that information that you just mentioned, links, photos, contact information, content, even for people who don't have a separate website of their own, you see? Because again, Google wants you to stay on their page. You don't have to have a website anymore. And we're starting to notice that, how people, you really don't need to have a full-blown website like at one time you did, because the information that people are discovering and connecting to is I'll say less and less connected to a website, one that you've created. But I mean, they still have their relevance, but you can see how things are moving away from that. So Google, in this particular case, they added a web page for your use. I just think it would probably be more redundancy. If you already have a website, then you can just basically take what's already on your website and add it to this. So it's not replacing your website, it's just giving you another place to add more content.
I did notice too that with it, it allowed me to do posts, and then I could share the post to Facebook. So is that better to start a post on Google and then put it on Facebook, or
Yes.
put a post on Facebook?
Well,
Correctly?
you can do it either way, but if you added it to Google and then posted it in Facebook, make sure you put in the website address. It creates a backlink. Okay, so you're
Okay.
doing it through an application through Google My Business, right? Which
Right.
is kind of it's not it's directly related, but not intimately related to the search engine. It's a part of the search engine, but it's working like a blog, if you will. So it's kind of separate and distinct. So if you're putting up posts and you are creating content within the Google My Business, not only is it going to be there, it's also going to be on your social media if you so direct it there. So either
I
direction.
guess where I'm getting with all this is, if I do more of those things starting on the Google platform, will that help that search engine? So when you search for real estate agents in Auburn, is that going to help get
Yes.
you more to the top?
Yes, it's going to do that because it's going to help raise your ranking in the Google My Business. Remember, because that's where you're creating the content from the beginning. You're just sharing it with social media.
Okay, good. Perfect.
Yeah, it's a really good process, and they're providing us, with a lot of capability. I mean, I've always used the analogy how they're allowing us as the small guy to present ourselves in the same light as the big companies and big corporations and all the capabilities that they have. And we have the same abilities now to compete with them, so yes, it's just a matter of using the tools to our benefit.
Well, again, I want to thank you for everything you've done for us. I appreciate it very much.
I'm always here, and I'm always ready for you. Next week, next Tuesday, we're going to do, and I should have changed that screen. Next Tuesday, we're going to do Google Photos and YouTube. This one is huge, everybody. It's going to lead right back into what we're talking about today in terms of getting your content created and putting it out there, but also how to make it easy for you to create, organize, and share your media, your photo galleries. You've got listings, you've got 100 pictures of that listing. You don't have to send out 100 pictures to somebody. You can create a gallery and send it out to one link through all the different media, through email, through blog pages, through online, through social media, and just make it easy, as well as how to take those YouTube videos and make them shine. So that's what we're going to focus on next Tuesday, the 26th. No, the 27th. The 27th. Today's the 27th. I'll
27th. Yep.
I think I'll be in South Carolina, but we're going to do it, and it's going to work out just great. So, you guys, don't forget, you got my place that you can contact me. You guys were a little quiet today. I guess maybe you were, listening and focusing, but you're going to get the video. You're going to get that relatively soon. And if you're noticing that the link to the video is now in the email that you got back from me already, because you have your own playlist. So when you click on that link, it'll give you every video from week 1 all the way up to the last one that was posted. And this one will be added to that list in a very short while. So thank you, Tim. Thank you, everybody who attended today. Thank you, everybody who didn't make it, but get a chance to watch the video. You have the place to ask questions. I'm here for you. Thanks again, everybody. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. And until then, take care of yourself and each other. G. William James signing off. Have a great day, everybody.